So this is Holly. She's been a few times, and I'm just going to let you do your thing, okay?
I'll start by praying. Father God, we just thank you tonight for this opportunity, and I just pray it now for the people in this building, for the people, God, and I just pray that my story, my testimony, what you've done in my life can touch somebody, that their hearts will be open, their ears will be open, God, and that you are just, people can just see how amazing you are, that you want to do this kind of stuff for them too. Not just for me, but everybody can have a story that you give them. I just pray that it'll be your words speaking through me, God, and that the Holy Spirit right now, I just invite you to fill me up, God, and just give me the strength to get through this. Amen. Well, you knew I was going to be crying, so anyways, we moved here about a year ago, and I've known for over a year I'm supposed to get my, before we even moved here. I've been, putting it off. I've told Josh, hey, I want to get my testimony. Put me on the schedule. He told me I need an outline. I'm thinking, who needs an outline? Put me on the schedule, then I'll give you my outline. I mean, I'm the procrastinator. I'd rather just be on the schedule. And so I've just been putting it off, and my eyes were kind of open this week by something, and I told God, I said, God, I can't wait any longer. I have to do this for you. I can't sit back and let the devil make me feel I'm not good enough, or that I'm not worthy enough, that my life's not perfect. I mean, if I waited for that, I would never get my testimony. And so it was 5 in the morning, and I'm texting Josh saying, if I can do it, I want to do it tomorrow. Let me just do it tomorrow, if it works out. And then I sent it, and I was like, hopefully he doesn't respond. But anyways, so I'm here, and I'm going to give my testimony. But anyways, I've grown up in a Christian home my whole life. We were raised in the church, going every Sunday, Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I gave my life to God at a young age. I would say 6 or 7, was baptized right away, and, did all the things that, I just, growing up, you just don't realize that. Sorry, I'm laughing because I said already 3 times. So I'm trying not to say that word. Anyways, so I just, growing up like that, that's how we were raised. Got into my teenage years, and I became a little rebellious. I was the one that liked the bad guys. My parents were always strict. We always had a lot of rules. Couldn't go out, or just couldn't do things that other kids could do. And so I ended up, starting to sneak out and getting into trouble, and I became pregnant at the age of 16. And I ended up getting caught in a lie. That's how my parents found out. And the picture of my dad when he found out, is a picture I will never forget. And there's 8 girls in my family, so if any of my siblings could have seen my dad at this time, it was just heartbreaking to me. But when he found out, I don't know what a dad would normally do, but he seriously fell to the ground on his knees, and he just starts praying over the bed. And he gets up, and he puts me in his arms, and he hugs me so tight, and he said, Holly, he said, we are going to stick together as a family. We're not going to let this bring our family down. It's going to be hard, but we are not going to let this bring our family down. And he just hugged me in his arms, and right then I knew, I was like, oh my gosh, he showed me what God would do, God's vision, what God would do, he And that always stuck in my mind. And, of course, I didn't follow through with what my dad said. He didn't want me. It was a very toxic relationship. It was an abusive one, verbally abusive, never physical, but it was a very abusive relationship. And I wanted to, my dad just wanted us to break up, and if it was right, it would turn out, he'll want to stick around or whatever. And I said, of course, that was the one thing I didn't do. We stayed together. And so it ended up, ending bad. I mean, I wouldn't say bad, but I remember we got in a fight, and my boyfriend was supposed to go with us a weekend, and I said, you know what, no, you're going to wait. Like, I need to pray about this. And he said, no, pray about it right now. I said, I can't pray about it right now. I need to, pray about it. I'm not going to pray right now. And so I just knew. I knew anyways that I wasn't supposed to be with him. That wasn't who I was supposed to be with. I was just the teen that anybody told me not to do something, and that's what I was going to do. Somebody told me it wasn't going to work. I was going to prove them wrong. It's going to work. We were going to work. And so we came back from the weekend, and I called him and, broke it off. And it was one of the hardest things to do. And at that time, our son, which my son's here tonight, he's 17. And at this time, he was, I think, maybe a month old. He was pretty young still. Or no, yeah, he was a month old. And the minute I told him it's not going to work out, and you know what? I was 16. I had turned 17 the next day when he was born. My boyfriend was 18. And honestly, what 18-year-old wants to be married or have a kid at 18? Be married or, So I mean, I'm sure he felt the same way too. But honestly, it was the minute I did that, I remember sitting upstairs in the room and telling him, this isn't going to work. We're not meant for each other. It's not going to work. And I remember hanging up the phone and looking over. We lived on a dairy, so I was looking over the window, and I honestly, it sounds silly, but it was I felt this weight lifted off my shoulders, and I see these two doves, just I don't know if they were doves, but to me they were white birds, so I called them doves, flying over the barn. And I knew instantly I did the right thing. I did what God told me to do. I felt that peace. I felt peace in him. And I'd always been I've always prayed. I've prayed my whole life. And so, I really feel that helped me get through it. Plus my parents, and plus once I had my son, I was he is mine. I realized at that moment that anything my parents ever told me or didn't want me to do, or why they told me no, in that moment I was oh my gosh, they do love me. They weren't just mean. They weren't trying to keep me locked up. They were doing it because they loved me. And so that's just one thing that I learned through that. I learned I honestly at that moment felt, just after having a kid, really sorry for what I put my parents through, thinking man, can't believe I was like that. They, having your own child was the best feeling in the world. I was very fortunate. My parents were going to be there to help me. I mean, I did have the support from my family, unlike a lot of people did. And I graduated high school. I ended up starting college, and of course, going into college, got introduced to drugs. And it wasn't, I was thinking, oh, I won't be addicted. I'm just gonna do it one time, or I'll just do it on the weekends. And ended up turning into, I was a meth addict, and it ended up turning into, I was an addict for 8 years. And I felt in those moments and in that time, I felt I was still a good mom. I didn't ever bring my son around that. I felt I was still there for him, but when I heard his side of the story, when, he found out, I waited till he was old enough to tell him, and because there's no way I wasn't going to tell him, because when you hear how he talked, he thought I always left him at my parents' house, or, he didn't realize I was still the one taking him to school every day. And so when you hear from him, it's totally different. You're not a good mom when you're in those moments. Drugs, that's from the devil. The devil wants to, I felt when you first start, you feel you're this great person that you're beautiful, you're the super mom, and those are just all lies from the devil. It's not like that. It becomes in your routine. It became in my daily habit. It wasn't something that I even became that I wanted to do. And I met my husband when Colton was 2, and that's been the only dad that Colton has ever known. And he's been adopted by him, and so during these drug years, my husband and I have been married for 11 years, and it got to where, since I was an addict for 8 years, nobody wants to be an addict for 8 years. Like, they don't. It's a habit. It's a routine. It's something that you become miserable. You hate it. You hate how you see other people. I mean, and it was just like one day I was supernaturally delivered from that. Like, then I've been clean for 7 years now. Like, I've never wanted to go back. It's one thing I've never wanted. I don't ever want to be that person again. Like, that's not who's God has created me or called me to be. And so I was very blessed to be supernaturally delivered. I know it's not that easy for other people. And so I just thank God for that. Like, and then I was able to become the mom that I was supposed to be to Colton, and the wife that I was supposed to be. And, my faith had to grow through that. Because even though you're doing drugs, you're not wanting to do them. And so I would always be talking to God, like, God, just help me. Like, get me out of this. And he did. And then we ended up having problems. My husband and I had problems getting pregnant. And this is another thing that God's, built my faith with. We ended up having to do in vitro. And the first round, at first I'm thinking, I didn't want to go to the doctor. I'm thinking, you prayed about it. If God wants me to have kids, I'll have some more kids. And, it'll work. I know I can have some more kids. And we ended up going and talking to our pastors back home. And the pastor's wife and our pastor, prayed over us. And my pastor's wife said, Holly, it's okay to go see doctors. Like, that's what they're there for. They're there to help. And so we went, and we ended up doing our first round of in vitro, and I had all these confessions that I was doing, like, I'm not barren, I have the blessings of Abraham, I'm going to have children, and I felt like I was doing all these things I was supposed to be doing in this time of going through all of this. And when I was driving home and I get the call, and they say, I'm sorry, you're not pregnant. I felt just so crushed in that moment. But I never felt unloved from God. Like, I never felt like this wasn't what God wanted. I just never, even though it was so hard to hear that and to get through, it wasn't, I never gave up hope. I knew like I am going to have kids. I'm going to have more kids. Like, God has called us to have kids. Like, if you can't have kids, believe you can. God wants you to have them. Like, it's not something that can't happen. And so we did another round back to back on in vitro, and we ended up finding out we were pregnant. And then now we have 3 girls from in vitro. During that time, it's, everything that I've been through, it just has built my faith. That's the one thing, you have to just lean on God, and you just start trying to soak yourself up in Him. And then I think, why do I always try to go to Him just when I'm in these trials or in these hard times? That's one of the easiest for us to do is when we're in these trials or these hard times. That's when you want to lean on God more. But He wants us like that all the time. And I think this week that's what really hit me. Like, I don't want to go to Him just when I'm in these trials. I want to do stuff for Him all the time, not just try to get into His Word when I need it the most. But now we have three beautiful little girls, and we're very blessed by that. And also, people remember dates. I don't remember the day I became a Christian, but I remember the day I was filled with the Holy Spirit, and that has changed my life. That was November 4th, 2012. And, you know, what marriage is perfect? Every marriage has problems. Ours has had a lot of them. And at the time, before all this, I didn't even know what to pray anymore. Like, I didn't know what to pray for my husband. I just didn't know what to pray for myself. And I would just sit there and be like, God, like, I don't even know what to say. God, you know what to say. Like, you know what to say. And at this time, I wasn't filled with the Holy Spirit. I didn't even, you know, was never against it, but you hear that and you're like, okay, that's kind of weird, but I mean, I'm not against it or anything. And I was at a believers meeting at my church back home, and one of the ladies goes, do you want to be filled with the Holy Spirit? And I said, yes, I do. And we did this prayer, and we prayed, and she said, now open your mouth. And it just started coming out. Like, it was just so natural for me. And, you know, and she gave me scriptures, and she said, you know, when you don't know what to pray, pray in the Spirit, because the Spirit knows what to pray for you. And at that moment, I was like, God, why didn't I know about this sooner? Because I was at a loss for words to pray anymore. Like, I didn't know what to even pray to God. I just would say, God, you know what my heart's thinking. You know what I need to be praying, because I don't even know what to say. And so, I mean, it became in my daily habit. I loved it. Like, I love praying in the Spirit, because, and it's actually helped me and taught me, like, how to just pray with words to Him, even, because it's so comforting to me when I don't know what to pray, or when I need to pray for pray for people in my family and stuff. And so when I was filled with the Holy Spirit, like, things started to change. And I just know I've never stopped praying for my marriage, like, ever. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we're out here. I knew when we moved here, like, I had many confirmations, like, when we moved here, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. God told me, you know, I can keep you where you're at, because there's your friends, there's people, there's places to go, people to see, things to do. He's like, but I'm moving you for you to draw closer to me. And so when we moved here, I didn't realize how hard that was going to be for me. And so moving here, I had the church family back home, and moving here, I feel like I've gotten slipped away, and I think that's why it's been so hard for me to do my testimony, because I haven't been into His Word. And I mean, I don't do daily devotionals like I used to, and I feel like the devil knows exactly where to hit you at. He knows where you're weak. He knows he knows what's going to make you fall. And so he starts telling me these lies, and you know, I continuously always have prayed. Like, I have been faithful about that. But I am ready to, like, get full on into Him. And, I mean, our son is amazing. Like, he's seen things as a 15-year-old that hasn't gone through, things that no 15-year-old should have to go through. And seen at the time, he's 17 now, but at the time, he was 15 and 16. And just, you know, just, he's been an inspiration too, just seeing how his strength has grown in God and stuff. And so I feel like we all need to step up and be those kind of people. And I just know God has been so faithful to me, like, my whole life, through everything. I've never had to doubt His love. I've never had to feel like He wasn't going to come through for me. It might not be at my time and when I want it, but in Psalms 9:10 it says, those who know your name trust you, O Lord, because you have never deserted those who seek your help. And you know, He wants to help us. We just have to seek Him for that. And I know we are all called to do great things for Christ. I was at a conference, and this kind of really stuck out to me. The lady said, God anoints the areas of your life where you are weak, because that's when you become fearless. And so then it made me think of 2 Timothy 1:7, where God did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And you know, we need I don't want to be fearful anymore of of trying to fix things on my own. I want to worry about fixing myself and not trying to fix other people. And this is one of the verses that always stuck out to me when I was trying to get pregnant, and just from then on it became my favorite verse. 1 John 5:14 through 16, I think it is. But this is the confidence that we have in Christ, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And since I know that he hears me, I know that I have what I asked of him. And so he does hear our prayers. I just know that Satan, is going to come to kill, steal, and destroy. And he knows, and I've already said that, but he knows where you're weak and what makes you stumble and fall. And I just know there's, you just got to start standing on this, I don't know if it'd be called as confessions or what is it, stand and declaring and putting your foot down for him. And one of the verses that I love to tell Satan is, let me find it. Oh, it's Matthew 4:10. Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written to worship the Lord your God and to serve him only." All you have to do is tell Satan, go. I am not worshiping you. I'm done. And I'm going to, I guess, kind of end with this. So as a man thinks, so is he. And so I've had to start, I do this with my kids where I start telling them, you're a leader, not a follower. You're the beginning, you're not the end. You are strong, you're bold. I'm a child of God. And I start doing that. And so we do this, I am a mighty woman of God. I am brave, bold, strong, courageous, kind, loving, beautiful. I am chosen, blessed, loved. And I am made in his image. I am a child of God, and I am his masterpiece. And that is who I am. And so I just hope hope that encourages somebody, that don't let the devil tell you lies about who you are, because always remember who God created you to be, and that you are not a mistake to God. He made you and he loves you, and you are his, you're his child. It blows my mind that there's so many people, and I look at people and I'm thinking, he loves you just as much as he loves me, or he has just as much time for you as he does for me. Who has that kind of time? That's just how much he loves people. I think that's just amazing that he's like that, so.
She said it's really hot up here.